Oh, it's the black man's fault that he's in the position. Well, what about black on black crime? I mean, it goes on and on and on. You know, I mean, I could sit here all day and give you examples. All lives matter. I mean, it just goes on all day. Black people ask for justice. White people find a way to try to obscure it, to try to take away from it, to try to demean it. We are colonizers. And I say that based on our behavior, collectively as white people. And until we stop being gaslighters and colonizers, white people are on a path of self-destruction. White supremacy, the lies of white supremacy, the colonizing mentality has never brought the white man happiness, and it never will. It's toxic, dysfunctional, and self-defeating. And it's not helping us. And now there's all this white rage because when the abuser loses control, he gets angry. And then Trump was born because we had a black president. And he was perfect because he was racist. And that's what white America wanted, because they're angry, because they felt like they were losing control. Because colonizers have to have control. And we had a black president. And everybody just shit all over themselves. White people just freak the fuck out. Oh my God, we're losing control. We have a black president. He's going to oppress us and enslave us. God knows we're going to be whipped and lynched. This is literally, I think, some of the thoughts, the subconscious. I'm exaggerating, but in a way it's true. The greatest fear of the colonizer is all that evil, vile shit that we did will be done up unto them, us. And that's why there's so much white rage. The numbers are changing. Pretty soon, white people will not be the majority. The abuser loses control. So what do? We continue gaslighting. We continue with white rage. White domestic terrorism on the rise. The greatest threat in America. White people are enraged because they can no longer control their victims, black and brown people, the way that they want to. They're losing some of their power, some of their positions, some of their privilege. They feel threatened. So here we are, in a state of crazy, utter chaos. That's why I say the lies of white supremacy is our destruction.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing amazing. Thank you so much for clicking on this episode. I really do appreciate your love and support on this channel. Something strange is happening in America. Tables are turning, and for once it's not the black people who are angry, it's the white people. As the country shifts and cracks under the weight of its own history, some white folks are finally waking up, realizing that the hate they've held for so long isn't just hurting the black people but destroying them from within. And what got them really shaken? It's the calm, the peace, the refusal of African American to fight with the same range they've been shown for centuries. On today's episode, we are diving into this awakening, how the calm strength of black people is revealing deeper truth, and why it's leaving some white Americans feeling more threatened than ever before. I want us to watch these clips together, guys. Every clip and every stitch that you'll be seeing on our today's episode, credits belongs to the original creators of these videos that you're seeing on your screens. If you're coming across this channel for the first time, my good name is Gracey D. Kindly consider subscribing to this channel, give this video a like, and let me know what your thoughts are on the comment section. So let's dive right ahead and come back with more commentary.
Y'all are so blinded by hate. Let me tell you how racism is going to keep the middle class stuck. America has a long, ugly history of people hating black and brown folks, so much so that they're willing to vote against their own survival just to keep their own racist ideologies alive. Time and time again, working class white Americans have been tricked into supporting policies that make them poorer, sicker, and more desperate, all because those in power tell them that they're going to punish black people and immigrants and other marginalized groups. Donald Trump's tax plan is the latest proof of this self-destructive cycle. His policies will hurt 95% of Americans, especially working class white Americans who make up a large percentage of his base, but yet they will still support him. Why? Because his campaign fuels their hate, distracting them from the fact that they too are being robbed. They are so determined to see black people struggle, so obsessed with upholding white supremacy that they will literally vote to make themselves poor if it means keeping the lie alive. Meanwhile, the ultra-rich, who don't care about race at all, just about staying rich and in power, laugh as they continue to collect wealth off the backs of struggling Americans. Trump's tax plan is not just about economics. It's a weapon of mass distraction, designed to use racism as a smokescreen while the rich steal from the poor. This isn't anything new. It's the same trick used throughout history. From the days of slavery, when rich plantation owners convinced poor whites to fight for a system that oppressed them too, to Jim Crow laws, to today's voter suppression and economic exploitation. The question I have is, when will people wake up? How much suffering will it take for them to see that the real enemy isn't black and brown people? It's the billionaires and the politicians robbing them blind while feeding them lies. This is the truth that racists don't want to admit. The very policies they think will hurt black and brown folks will hurt them first. And when they find out that they've been used as pawns in a game that's designed to keep them struggling, it may be too late.
I'm going to step on a bunch of people's feet when I say this. You are not being discriminated against just because you are not centered in the story. I need people to marinate in that, sit with that. You are not being oppressed by other people talking about various histories or focusing on various literature. None of those things are directly harmful to you. The way some folks will literally try to spin it as if talking about, let's take an example, if talking about black history is harmful to them somehow. They never prove it. They never have any tangible examples of the actual harm of discussing black history. It's all based upon people's feelings, which if we're basing things upon people's feelings, there's a whole group of black people who would love to talk about our feelings about things. Our feelings are never considered in these conversations, but the idea that it is oppressive to certain groups of folks to learn black history is wild. That is somehow harmful and detrimental to these folks to learn actual history, things that have actually happened, as opposed to those things that actually happened, is wild. It shows me that y'all have never truly been oppressed because of your color of your skin. Like, y'all have never experienced that. When I'm having these discussions here on this forum and folks come on and they leave their comments when I ask them for examples of how this is oppressive to them, you know what some of those comments are? Black history section at the bookstore. Netflix having a whole black section. The black hair care aisle. Do y'all see how that's like wild? That other people simply existing, simply talking about existing, or in the case of the hair care aisle, simply caring for our bodies is somehow oppressive to folks who are so used to being centered that they lose their marbles when they hear or learn or are confronted with the idea that other people exist in this world and may want a little scalp moisturizer or may want to read a book that talks about our experiences, or may want to watch a love story that features black love. That's the worst you gotta deal with? The idea that other people simply exist? That's the worst you have to deal with? Also, let me say this, because y'all think that everything black people do is cool without giving black people credit for it. Oppression is not fun. Being oppressed is not cute. Being harmed in so many different ways just because of the people that you come from is literally not fun. And I don't know why so many people want to be oppressed. I mean, outside of the fact that y'all think that everything black people do is cool. I mean, a bunch of y'all walk around with do-rags right now trying to get waves, and I'm like, baby, you enjoy those cornfield looking locks. Like, that's fine. Baby, y'all don't even know what this stuff is for. A bunch of y'all was throwing oil in your hair and like y'all didn't know what that stuff was for. Like, it's weird, it's strange, it's odd, it's getting strange. It's okay if you're not centered in the story. It's okay. Other people exist. Other people could tell their perspectives. Other people matter too. Like, wasn't that y'all big thing that all lives matter? Isn't this a prime example of that? Breathe. It's okay. Other people exist. You'll be fine. You'll survive.
You know, Republican voters love to say, Donald Trump is your president. Why can't you accept it? Donald Trump is your president. You need to get over it. But I hope you guys know, for most of us, we have accepted it. We understand he is the president. Some of us think the way he became president is a little shaky. Probably needs to have some extra eyes look into that. But at the end of the day, we know he's in the Oval Office. The problem is, it does not stop there, okay? It's never supposed to stop there. See, when you guys vote, and your leadership understands this, your representatives understand this, when you guys vote, you think voting that person in means you send them to Washington, and then they wave a magic wand, and they fix all of your problems. You think, I voted for Donald Trump, he won. Now, just by him being there, everything that I was concerned with before he became president is going to change. What do I have to follow up with him about? He's there, he's gonna do it. But ladies and gentlemen, this is not Hogwarts, okay? This is not the Ministry of Magic. He's not showing up there and saying a spell or two, and you have lower grocery prices. You have more affordable health care. You have all the things that are currently making your life more difficult fixed. No, those changes take actual work, okay? They take negotiation. They take litigation. They take all of the pressure that comes from the people in order for our congressmen, our senators, and the president himself to act in our best interests, not in their own. It's funny you guys say you don't like socialism, but you seem to love the idea of the government taking care of all your problems once you get the people in there that you like. I'm very sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that is not our reality, okay? We absolutely need to keep questioning what these people do every single day. The pressure people have been putting on these senators, the pressure people have been putting on this congressman is why they are telling the muskrat that he can no longer act with unilateral power. I bet you if we weren't constantly asking, what does he do? Why is he doing it? How does he have the power to do it? Isn't this constitutional or unconstitutional? I bet you if those lawsuits weren't getting filed and those judges weren't looking into these cases because of the people constantly asking questions, we would not have seen any change on that matter. This is why the American people cannot just accept that he's president, go home, and not ask questions. That's how we got here to begin with. So instead of focusing on all of us complaining, I'm telling you right now, you guys need to be complaining a lot more.
It's obvious that many of you do not understand what restorative justice is. Restorative justice is compassion. Restorative justice is compassion for the victim first, for community, and it is also compassion for the offender. Restorative justice gives the victims an opportunity to be heard by community, by the offender. It gives victims the opportunity to say, this is what happened to me, this is what you did to me, and this is how it affected my life. Restorative justice gives victims a feeling of safety amongst the masses. It lets them know they are not alone. It validates the harm that has been caused to the victims and reminds victims that they have an entire community that loves and cares for them. Restorative justice is compassion for community because it brings community in to be witnesses, not mediators, but witnesses to a process in which our community restores order and brings the fold back together. Restorative justice is compassion for the community because it shows community that there is accountability here for each and every one of us, whichever side of accountability we stand on, whether we are being held accountable or the offender is being held accountable for the crimes they have committed against us. Restorative justice is compassion for the offender because what is the alternative? Lock them up and throw away the fucking key? Just discard them like they're trash? No. Restorative justice gives Shaheem the opportunity to hear what they've done wrong and come up with a plan with community to not reoffend anyone in community. Restorative justice gives Shaheem the opportunity to right their wrongs and come back home, to not be ostracized, to not be left without a people. And unfortunately, we don't practice restorative justice in our community. We fall back on the white man's idea of justice for Black lives, and that is just fucking punitive. In order for restorative justice to happen, Shaheem has got to be willing to come to the table. And these victims of Shaheem's have tried many times to communicate with Shaheem, but Shaheem does not value the lives of their victims. What Shaheem does is offends and then blocks, like the victims never even existed and certainly do not matter. And after Shaheem blocks their victims, then his flying fucking monkeys swarm their victims and makes the situation that much worse. Our community deserves better than that. And none of us are above accountability. I'm not trying to throw Shaheem away, but Shaheem has resisted the call-in one after another, and this has gotten bigger and bigger because the body count of victims continues to grow. And this community has to put a stop to it because Shaheem has a type, and I happen to be Shaheem's type of victim. And if I don't stop it from happening to someone else, I could be next. You could be next. And that fear right there is what destabilizes and disconnects our community. Restorative justice is in order so we can protect, care for, and clean our own communities without outside interference. And if you have a problem with people being doxxed, so do I. That's one of the things that we need to be talking to Shaheem about. If you have a problem with people calling Shaheem's job, Shaheem is a fucking therapist. And there is a level of accountability in that profession to do no harm. And you should also consider if Shaheem had respected their victims enough to actually sit down at the table and discuss the harm that they have caused in community, those victims would not now be seeking other alternatives for justice. Restorative justice is in order, and you've not seen it practiced very often, but that doesn't mean that this isn't it. That doesn't mean that this isn't it. You just don't like it because Shaheem is your problematic fucking fave.
Yeah guys, so this is what's happening, and as you've heard, this white guy, when on the first clip of this video, he's really talking a lot of truth, and some white people would rather, you know, argue with him and try every way possible to deny what he's saying and say that they are not racist and all that, instead of them listening to the message and trying how they can help their community change. So many of them try to defend and justify what they do. We all know that American history is soaked in the blood of black resistance, slavery, segregation, police brutality. For centuries, white folks expected the range, then used it to justify their oppression. They painted them dangerous just for demanding to live. But through all of it, they have built, they have survived, they have thrived, and now they've shifted the narrative. They're no longer giving their energy to a system that feeds off their pain. This calm that you sing and whatever, everything that's happening, it's not passivity, it's power. It's a strategy that black people have chosen. Black Americans have realized that peace is their protest, healing is their resilience, and joy is their revolution. And some white folks are not happy about this. Black folks have decided to create, to build wealth, to reclaim their mental health. They are not reacting on anything that's happening. They want people not to vote against their own self-best interest. They did so much during the campaigns. All through the campaign, they were out here reminding people, go through Project 2025 and all that. And right now, white America is uncomfortable, not because black people are angry, but because they are not. They do not know what to do when black people stop begging, yelling, stop performing pain for their consumption. Now white folks feel threatened because black people are not reacting. Their peace is unsettling, and that means they have taken back their power. And this got many white folks scared out here. And this is why even so many of them are very angry at black folks, saying that they are not going to show up on April 5th. They are saying that they want to take the country back. They are saying that they want the country to be great, but they didn't do this when they went out there to cast their vote. They went on ahead and voted against their own self-best interest, because at the end of the day, they thought that whatever they were doing is only gonna hurt the black folks. And now that they're realizing that whatever they've been doing and the history that they've been building is actually eating them from within, is so scary to them. Some of them don't even know how they're gonna survive this, because they thought and believed that with the white privilege that they've always survived on, it's gonna work this time. But remember, as the saying say, when you dig a hole, if you're digging a hole for someone, make sure that you dig too, because you might end up falling on the same hole. And this is why we are seeing it in real time. We are white range turning inward, anxiety. So many of them are paranoid out here. We are seeing political chaos. Some even coming on social media crying, saying that they don't know how to survive this. Some coming here saying that they really do regret their vote. We've seen videos and so many times where even white folks go on social media posts, comment on the comment section, commenting on black people posts, saying that they are too emotional when they're trying to talk on what's happening to them and what's being done to them, when they're trying to talk about systematic racism, and they just call them too emotional. They tell them that they're too angry. And now that the black people have chosen stillness over shouting, intention over impulse, they have flipped the script, and white folks are not happy about this. And this is why we're seeing so many of them angry out here. This is why we're seeing so many things happening. They are trying everything possible to try to see who they can put the blame on, everything that's happening in the country, because they chose to believe a politician. They chose to vote against their own self-best interest because of hate and racism, and now it's hurting them to core. And now so many of them don't even know how to survive, and they're angry out here. They don't know who to turn to. And this is why you're seeing they've even said that on April 5th they need each one of you out there. And now that black folks are saying no, this is not our fight, and no, we are not going to be out there fighting, white folks are quite angry. They're asking black people, why are you not coming out here to fight with us? We are fighting for our country. We are fighting this for us. But when black people told you to go and fight on the ballot box, you never listened to them. You never did videos telling your white folks that to make sure that on the ballot box you are fighting for your country, on the ballot box you are doing this for your country. You didn't tell them that. But when the things or tables are turning and things are going sideways, when the same policies that you voted to hurt other people's are hurting you, now you want people to be out here protesting. And now we can clearly see, and what most black creators have been saying, that white people were never afraid of black people's violence. They were afraid of black people's detachment, because when black people stop fighting for their approval, their systems collapses. We've seen what has been happening with all these corporations that actually rolled back on DEI. It's not like black people benefited from DEI, but they wanted to teach them a lesson. And the message has been loud and clear. You've seen what has happened to Target. You've seen what has happened to many other companies out here. Black people have chosen to stop centering whiteness. The mirror they've forced on them shatters, and they are forced to look at themselves. Black people have just decided to let the white people rage, to let them unravel. They're saying that they are not angry. They have evolved. They are not shouting. They are rising. And they will rise with calm, with clarity, and with power. And this is a message that most black people have been passing out there, even as they said that they will not be attending the April 5th protest. As we've seen them staying at home, deciding to do things that actually benefit them, and not being on the streets fighting for social rights, fighting for each and every other person to benefit out there, and for them to be the last people, the last demographic in the United States of America to benefit from their fight. They've said that we are not going to sweat anymore. We are not going to shed blood anymore. We have decided that we're just gonna sit, relax, as we watch you fight for this country, as we watch you clear the mess or clean the mess that you all brought up in this country, because we told you. And this is why most people are like, you all effed around and now you're finding out. We told you not to go ahead and vote against your own self-best interest, because everything that's happening now, every policy that you're seeing out there has been on the Project 2025 all through the months of the campaign. This Project 2025 has been out there. People have done videos, people have talked about it, but most people chose to go on ahead and vote against their own self-best interest because of hate and racism. And now that it's affecting you all, you want black people to be out here, and black people are like, no, there is no way. We're not gonna be out there. We've done our part. It's time for you to do your part. Let me know what your thoughts are on the comment section. Thank you so much for watching up to this part, and until the next episode, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and see you on the next one.